it's day 5 or day 4. Can't remember. We just had our second ayahuasca ceremony last night. And it was a challenge yet again. I'd say not as hard as the first one, for sure. That was a welcome change. And the overwhelming sentiment that I got this time was mostly about living in a heart space. And what that means to me is stop living in your head and start living in your heart. Your heart is the ultimate gift that you have been given. It is your gift. It's your gift to share. It's your gift to experience. So once again, the findings were somewhat accessible, I should say. I kept on thinking if I had this deep-seated need to continue to search for messages, when in reality they were pretty much right in front of me. Once again. Start off the ceremony. The group was in a really good mood beforehand. There was a lot of confidence. There was a lot of camaraderie. People were psyching themselves up. Obviously, once the ceremony got there, I was quite apprehensive once again. I'm first to drink. My name is called. I walk up there, I say my intention into the cup. I'll try and reiterate what my intention is. My intention is to be a vessel for Mother Ayahuasca and to be open to finding and identifying the things that are holding me back, and to be courageous in the purging of those things so that I can live a more full life for the good of all mankind, my family and myself. So I drink the cup. It tastes just as bad as the night before, but nothing too terrible. I don't have that much of an upset stomach. After I drink it, I go sit down, and I continue through the ceremony. Everyone else drinks. I forget my mapacho again, so I walk back up and grab it. And then we wait. I wait. I waited for, 20, 30 minutes, and then I started to feel it come on with the tingly fingers, the warm face. It wasn't as jarring this time, that's for sure. I was ready, and I was really focused on maintaining my connection to my breath and not to be functioning in my head so much. So, when I was getting into trouble, I noticed that I would get into my head about things. And so my mantra was to be patient, surrender, and have courage. And be within the heart space. live from your heart space. So the psychedelic components start to come on. And again, I'm trying not to like call out things. I'm trying not to have my mind get in the way and try and ascribe meaning to things. Because so often I can like think, oh, I need to name that thing, or I need to catalog it, or I need to communicate with it from the thoughts. And this ayahuasca experience was really about trusting in the unspoken and trusting in the sense that there is a different type of understanding that comes from the heart than that comes from the mind. And the mind's grasping at concepts and ideas is really just that. It's just grasping at concepts and ideas as opposed to acceptance, really, which is like a state of being. And so I was like trying to actively occupy the heart space for the duration of the ayahuasca experience, and it really went much better than the night before. It was bearable for most of it. The night before I wanted to pull my hair out and I thought that I was gonna die, but this time around it was more familiar, so I had more confidence, and I knew it was temporary. I wasn't really holding on to many of the ideas about, you know, who I am, or being in the group, or, you know, being in the Amazon, or being in Peru, or like having a family. Like there was some of that. There was some of the grasping for concepts, but not nearly as much as the night before. So I was able to experience the visions with less judgment, and I think then they were less scary. So whereas the first trip was like dominated by yellow and white, and it was like super in my face and really strong, this was dominated by bluish green, which was so much more calming and less jarring. That I mean, it was, there were definitely scary parts, various different kind of beings that would come across that I would interact with, very geometric shape, matrix type of setting. So like blue green, everything is sort of in, it's almost like everything's on graph paper. Like the whole world is, or my perception is on like this blue green, three-dimensional, geometrically based graph paper, where I'm interacting with kind of more like ideas and feelings than anything, because my mind kept on like saying like, oh, what are my answers to my questions? What are my things that I need to know? What are the things that I need to purge? Can you help me purge these things? How do I purge these things? Can I purge these things? And every single time I had these thought patterns, the overwhelming feeling in my head was just like, Adam, you already know. Adam, you already know. So just rest in the fact that you already know, and accept and live in your heart And so the visions were, I was able to negotiate with much more ease. There were times where anxiety crept up, but I really tried to manage my breathing and then just be in the heart space, like literally live my existence from the heart space. And then there was a moment where I asked, what's my gift? And there's this interesting image of like this giant rock. And out of this rock, a little paintbrush, like, came out from this rock. And it was at that moment where I realized, like, that was, my heart was my gift. And I just need to be in my heart more. So my mind is striving for like concepts, things, words. Then I just would say, no, that's not really necessary. And in fact, that's perpetuating the issue. So even though like I was looking for an answer to stop the incessant thinking and rationalization, the answer was to stop. And again, it's like the answer that's right in front of your face that and you're just afraid to act on, or like, I've known these things. It was just like so obvious that I should be reevaluating my approach. I could be. And there's a more easeful way, there's a more full way to live in this world, and it's through the heart. Then I was really taken with the Icaros by Don Robert and Don Ileana and Don Carlos. I felt so much gratitude for Don Robert. Here is this, 76, 78-year-old man who's, it's midnight, 1 a.m., 1:30, whatever. And he's singing his heart out to us. And just entrancing, beautiful, selfless love energy. And I was just so grateful to be there and to have them be gracing me with their presence. It felt like such a gift. And I kept coming back to that every time they would start singing. And a couple moments brought me close to tears. And every time that I interact with these Dons, Don Maestro, Don Eliano, their overwhelming pure heart and love is just so obvious, and it's so amazing, and it's so unfavoring, and it's unwavering, and it's unconditional, is what it is. And so most of my learnings, I think, were more of feelings than thoughts in this one. Which is hard, because then how do you communicate these feelings to people around you, and how do you have a community with the group? But again, I tried not to just get hung up on the packaging of my experience and the sharing and the commercialization of my experience, but the actual experience itself. Thought a bit about my family. I mean, but really it was more about just like spending time in the heart space and having this be a new way to be in the world. Having it be my gift to others, my gift to myself, my gift to the world, which is my heart. It's funny because I don't even know if that's a unique gift to me. I think that could be everybody's gift to the world, is their heart. I can't think of any other thing. What would it be, you know? I mean, some people, I suppose, it's their mind. Not me. It doesn't matter. Bump and Sana ceremony tonight, and then 2 more Ayahuasca ceremonies. Once more onto the bridge.